नहीं नहीं, मैं तो ऊपर ही करता हूँ वो तो। उस दिन मैंने कर लिया था, क्योंकि पैर धोने में बहुत दिक्कत आती है उसमें। यहाँ आप पैर नहीं धो सकते। इधर कर लेता हूँ, या अभी पीछे वाला बाथरूम होगा ना अपना खाली, उस पे नल है, उस पे कर लेता हूँ, क्योंकि उस पे तो कोई आने जाने नहीं है। है। हाँ, उस पे कर लेता हूँ मैं। कोशिश तो मैं ये करता हूँ कि वजू की जरूरत नहीं पड़े।
Good afternoon, everyone. Agarwal Saab, good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Sir, can we start, sir?
Yeah.
Kajal, madam, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Namaskar and good morning to everyone connected to this webinar. Respected speaker today's webinar, Mr. S.K. Agarwal, sir, our chairman, Mr. S.P. Sharma, sir, members of AVP, and esteemed participating registered valuers. I, Kajal Gupta, manager of Divya Jyoti Values Foundation, RVO, and coordinator of this CEP, extend a warm welcome to you all in this program. As you are aware, the topic of today's CEP is valuation of ships. Important parameters. This is one of the topic on which IBBI is its recent meetings with the MDs and CEOs of RVOs had advised RVOs to conduct CP. The idea behind this is to make registered value aware of the process of valuation of all kind of assets. Now, coming to the topic today, we are aware that a ship is a large vessel that travels the world oceans and other navigable waterways carrying passengers or cargo or in support of specialized missions. Valuing a ship requires specialized knowledge of this field. In this CEP, the important aspects of methodology to be adopted for valuation of ships will be discussed. The topic is new and must be interesting. We have chosen a very experienced and highly qualified speaker, Mr. S.K. Agarwal, sir, to take this session. Without losing any further time, I wish to hand over the mic to S.K. Agarwal, sir. But before that, I shall briefly introduce him to you all. Sushil Kumar Agarwal, sir, is a BTech from IIT Kanpur, hold a procedure in diploma in management from Thunderbird, USA. He is ICW intern and has undertaken courses in high-speed, high-quality production, techniques from AOTS Japan, project management from PII, strategic management for leaders IIM Kolkata. He is a registered valuer and is a member of expert committee of Divya Jyoti Values Foundation, International Valuation Committee of IOV, Chartered Engineer for India and Canada, Board of AVTS Alumni Association Delhi. He is NPC approved lean consultant. Besides having rich and varied experience in valuation field, undertaking his value and procedures valuation of assignments, he has over 40 years of corporate experience as business head and manufacturing head. He has proven and known turnaround expertise for various sectors and has international expertise and experience of working in Japan, Tanzania, and Germany. He is a great speaker and is fond of teaching. He is a regular guest faculty at different institutes like IIT Goenka, Technical University MSU Baroda. He is our esteemed and very popular member of faculty for MEP and C. He is based in Gurgaon. So over to you for a wonderful learning session for 4 hours, bifurcated 2 sessions from 2 to 3 break. Thank you, sir.
Shall I start, Kajal?
Yes, sir.
Chaliye, namaskar to everybody. So we are going to start off with the topic of valuation of ships. And this being a mixed audience means we have all the three set of valuers here. So what we will do is I will try to first talk a lot about ships, what ships, how they are made, and so many things. And then along with that, we will also see the parameters how to value ships. Excuse me. Internationally, the ship valuers are a different class altogether. They do not fall into any class, and we do not have a single those ship valuers in India. Shipping Trading Corporation (STC) they take out tender every year for valuation of ships, and some plant and machinery valuers do the ship valuation on a cost basis. So we'll see some of those things also. In case anybody wants to be a ship valuer, then we can also talk about how to become a official ship valuer. Just to make things interesting, a ship valuer who's based in Singapore, he normally charges $10,000 per ship valuation. So $10,000 is approximately 8.5 lakhs plus of course all the travel costs. Chaliye sir, let us start. Any questions before we start, and any technical issues? Can everybody hear me properly? Is my sound, speed of speaking, everything understood? English, Hindi, dono chalegi. I hope. सर कमेंट्स करते रहिए, नहीं तो थोड़ा सा मेरे को ये लगता है कहीं सो सा तो नहीं गया, मेरी आवाज इतनी खराब थी.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, जी.
Sir, I am Rajesh Abhi from Chennai.
Yeah, Mr. Raj.
Sir, kindly make the comments in English only, sir. I could not understand Hindi. It will be
Okay.
please.
No.
Okay.
The reason, that is the reason I am asking.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes.
have had courses where there were people from Kerala and from Assam and from UP and Bihar and all.
Yes, sir. Understand.
And some people say they don't understand English and some say they don't understand Hindi.
Okay.
So what I will do is I will try to keep most of it is in English. And if somebody does not understand that part, we will take it in Hindi also.
Please, sir. Please. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any other question? But are you able to hear me properly? There's no problem technically on the speech or anything?
Yes, sir.
Fine, sir. Very fine, sir.
Okay.
Clearly audible, sir.
Right. Mr. Faisal, where are you from? Okay. So let us start. This topic of ship valuation and some other valuation came upon when many of us as valuers and RVUs told IBBI that there are many things for which valuations are not available, especially under IBBI gambit. And certain valuations are three branches are not able to cover. Like for example, in land and building, forest land is something which is not covered even in our 50 MEP codes or anything. So that is one valuation which is specialized. Another valuation not covered is agriculture land, because agriculture land becomes extremely state dependent topic and the rules of holding of agriculture land also becomes different. Similarly, on the plant and machinery side, there were two, three, four things which were said. One was, of course, ships and aeroplanes. The other is jewelry and gems. There are jewelry and gem valuers. I met one person in Hyderabad. He was about 75-year-old and he says he does valuation for Ambani families for jewelry and gems. So, but he is not, of course, IBB. So jewelry and gem. Then mining is another thing for which it has been requested to IBBI. So what IBBI have told RVUs that please go ahead and have some sort of CEPs for these new topics. So at least an exposure can start. And from there, they will also start looking into adding new streams. How will the rules work out? I don't know. So this is, we also did a valuation on mining. So this is the one on valuation of ships. Yes, please. Any questions? Anything?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੱਲੇ ਉਤਰ ਜਾਈਓ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਵੀ ਕਲਾਸ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਪਈ ਹੈ 2 ਵਜੇ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ
So sir, that gentleman was in Punjabi. I hope nobody will ask me to talk in Punjabi. Okay, so this is a ship. Any idea when we have the earliest records of ship in the world and from where they were. Now, what is the difference between a ship and a boat? Yes, sir. Sir, from Chennai, you should be knowing that better, sir. Ship and a boat. Now, a ship and a boat cannot be for carrying what the cargo it is, because boats can also carry commercial goods and people, and ships can also carry commercial good and people. So the biggest ship in the world are today cruise ships. They are only people ships. So what is the difference between a boat and a ship? Okay, the difference is a ship goes into an ocean. It is normally mechanically powered, and powered by wind is also considered mechanically powered, and can stay in the water for continuous long periods of time. Long here typically mean anything between 1 week to months, whereas a boat is typically a small floating instrument, a floating thing, which is used in rivers and very close to the sea, where they cannot be on the sea for more than 24 or 30 hours. So if you look into the terminology on the sea coast, the fishing they don't use fishing ships, they use fishing boats. There is a difference. And for whales as a fish, they call it whaler's ship. And again, if you think a little deeper, these shipping boats, they normally go in the morning, come back next day morning, or maximum 2 days. Whereas the ships which go, they go for even up to 1 month, 1.5 months, and so on. Now, this ship which I have shown is from this company called Maersk. Maersk Line is the largest shipping company in the world today. They are Norwegian shipping company. And sir, I keep on talking a lot of things regarding ships and so. And so the whole idea is by the time we end this, we all should have a far better idea about ships, its construction, and so many things, which of course will help us not only in valuation, but also how to account, how to look at it, and so on. And please stop me wherever you feel I need to repeat or explain in a detail, or even if you have a nice story to talk. So these are older ships. So the question, when is the first ships? Any idea, sir, from where they were and what, where it got recorded or something? Anybody from Ahmedabad? Nobody from Ahmedabad. Anybody from Gujarat? Are sir, nobody from Gujarat also?
Yeah, sir, I am from Gujarat, but I don't have any idea about the first ship when it came.
Where in Gujarat, sir?
I am from Vadodara, sir.
Vadodara. Okay. Now from Vadodara, if you go to Ahmedabad, and from Ahmedabad you take the road to Rajkot, you get a prehistoric site called Lothal.
Yes, yes, sir.
It is just beyond Ahmedabad. Lothal is supposed to be 7,000 to 8,000 year old site of Mohenjo-daro culture. And in Lothal site, they have a port and ships used to come and dock there.
Yes, sir. I've gone there, sir. I've seen that place.
Lothal dekha hai?
हाँ देखा है सर देखा.
Matlab, you see, you can imagine. Then if you go a little more west towards Doravilla is near Bhuj. There you
Yes.
see much larger type of ships which are going on. And if you go to, again, in the Gujarat, a place called Mandvi. So
Yeah.
Mandvi is in Saurashtra, near Guj. There you can see very large size of wooden boats or ships which are still being made. They are not wind boats or wind seas. They are all mechanically powered nowadays. But still, the old traditional style of very large size boat or small size ships, it is going on. So these are old ships, and all these ships from India are dated to as old as 8,000-year-old. So much before the Europeans came into picture. Another story which is being talked about was the people who came to Hawaii. Hawaii is a small island of USA in middle of Pacific, a very big tourist attraction. The people came there on rafts from 3 to 4,000 kilometers away. And in modern times, it is an adventure sport to follow that route. It is called Kontiki, Kontiki, Kontiki raft. So some interesting information about ships. This is a modern cruiser ship with the name of cruiser. So can anybody recall any major misinformation which happened in the name of India and ships? Major problem which happened. Okay, maybe my question is not complete. Everybody has heard the name of Christopher Columbus. And Christopher Columbus, they wanted to come to India. And what happened? And they were all searching for India because India was the richest country. And at that point of time, we Indians or we Bharatiya, whichever both the nomenclature can be used. So we had approximately 42% of the world trade or the world GDP. So you can very well say that we were the richest country in the world. And everybody wanted to come here. There was another reason to come here was because most of the Europeans were meat eaters and they needed spices to store the meat, otherwise it could go bad. So they were searching and nothing happened. So Christopher Columbus thought, let me go to the west and then Earth is round, so I will reach it. So he started going on the west and he landed up in somewhere. Any idea, sir, where he landed?
America. North America.
Which place in America? No, he did not land in the American subcontinent.
Red Indians.
No, sir. He landed in what is today the West Indies Islands. And there he said that you all are Indians. So they started, and they were reddish in color, so they started being talked about as Red Indians. So you can imagine the reputation of India that he went there and he did not agree that that is not India. He said, no, you are Indians, you are telling me a lie. And that is what it came out. So it's very interesting. Another very interesting thing around that time was another person who came to India, touching from coast to coast, which was Vasco da Gama. And as the story goes, some Gujarati trader, he met him in Cape of Good Hope in Africa. And then when they talked, he said, I'm going to India. So Gujarati bhai said, okay, just follow me. So piche aao na. And that is how he came to India. So we have a very strong maritime history on ships. Anybody recognizes what is this picture, sir?
Navy ships, warships, I think.
Navy warship is correct, but this is a very specific warship.
Aircraft carrier.
These are aircraft carriers, very correct. And in India, we starting to make aircraft carriers. We have, I think, made 2 aircraft carriers from Cochin shipyard. So today, aircraft carriers are being made in India, and one aircraft carrier normally carries another 20 to 30 ships around it, the submarines and so on. So this gives a very, very strong force to the Navy, where a ship can go very close to the port or whatever, and then use aircrafts to attack. So this is also a ship. These are also designed in India today, manufactured in India as well. The largest aircraft carriers are with US Navy. Now, these are some new type of ships. What you see top ahead, they are a different type of a mast, which is taking wind energy. And this ship is shipped to transport crude oil. These are called bulk carriers. So see, there are so many types of ships, and each is a ship. And the reason they are a ship is because they travel long distance. They are out of the shore for long period of time, and they are able to sustain with food and everything, including propelled power. So that is what the ships are. Any questions, sir? Now I am going to switch this what you call link, and then let us see what happens. Can you see a lot of arrows, red arrow and green arrows and so on? Yes, sir. Can you see some red arrows, a map of India, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Surat,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bhavnagar? Now, this is a map. It is a real-time movement of ships in the world. So, all commercial ships, they are tracked through satellite, and you can see them sitting in your desk. So any one of us can see any ship where it is going and the cargo. So let me do something interesting. In India, we don't see much traffic. So let us bring it a little here. Now, if you see near Colombo, near Sri Lanka, the traffic has gone up drastically. Correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Now, the reason why it has gone up, because the Colombo port is one of the port which is called a transshipment port. Transshipment port means from, let us say, Dubai or Middle East, the ships will come, they will dump their containers in Colombo, take the container from Colombo and go back. Then the ships coming from Japan or the east side, Japan and Shanghai and so on, they will come here, they will dump their cargo at Colombo and take the container from there. So this becomes a transshipment. This reduces the cost of shipping, because then that is like a local bus service it is moving. So if you have to go to 3 places, one long bus may not have the full load, but 3 buses may have the full load. So something like that. Let us see a little more. Then we see Kuala Lumpur and what you call Singapore. So you can see the ship traffic which is going on in real time. Now this presentation, Divya will share with everybody. So do try to click on that link and see. This is very exciting to see. And if you keep it on, you can also see the ships moving. Now let me click on one. Now if I have clicked on this one red, which you can see, it says Kuala Lumpur CN and destination SGSIN. Now CN means China, Kuala Lumpur is the name of the ship, and destination SGSIN means it is going to Singapore. So I have clicked it a little more. So it is a oil products tanker, which you can see. So it is an oil product tanker, and it was it started off on 1st of February 2024, 2040 hours, and it is going to reach on 4th of February 2024, 1400 hours. And the service status underway using engine, speed 12 knots, 183 degrees, and draught is 8 meters. Now, let us also talk a little bit about some of these things. First is, do you think it is so exciting to see the world ka Sara ship we can see here? Very interesting, na?
True, sir, true.
Okay.
Sir,
Now, yes,
sir,
please.
Sir, can we see online? You are showing us. This is online, sir.
This is online, real time.
So we have to search in Google Map.
No. Once you get the presentation, I have put the link there.
Okay, sir.
So once you put a link, you can see worldwide. I have expanded it and I am showing it only for Asia region, but you can see for any region whatsoever.
Okay,
And
sir.
in these red ones, which means they are international or long distance. So one of the one which I clicked, it is showing the details of that particular ship. And that ship is going to Singapore. We see the time travel. It is going at the rate of 12 knots, 143 degrees, and 8-meter draught. Draught 8-meter means the ship, how much it is below the water is 8 meters. Speed 12 knots. Now, in shipping parlance, the speed is not checked by miles or kilometers. It is done by knots, and with the knots there is a conversion factor. The knot has a technical definition on the circumference of the earth and so on. So that will be going a little digressing. So let me not do that. And course 143 degree means it has a course of longitude 143 degrees by which it is moving. So the whole idea is that today the maritime trade has become so transparent, so big that we can track the ship ourselves. This also gives an advantage that when people are exporting, where the ship is and when it is coming and so on. Any questions on this? Shall we go back? Nothing. Let me go back.
No, sir, clear.
No, this is only to show the interesting things. So see, routine things everybody we all see, but one of the good things with these topic is these are absolutely new, and so we can learn. So here, live marine traffic, I have given the link. Once you get the PPT, you can do it and see. or you can search on Google also. Interestingly, the same thing is available for airline also, where one of the site is Radar 24, another is Flight Aware, where you can track all the flights which are going on. Okay, so how much is the ships which are available in the world? So let us look into the ships. Economy of ownership. Economy of ownership means which country owner owns those ships. So China, Greece, Japan, Singapore, Indonesia, Germany. Now India is not even there as a name. And number of registration. This is called ship registrars. I will talk about ship registrars a bit later. So where the ships are registered, like in cars, you have GH06 for Baroda and HR26 for Gurgaon. Every ship has got to be registered. There are 12 major registered agencies and 24 minor agencies. Indian Registration Agency is a minor agency, not a major agency. So these are where these ships have been registered. So if we look into the total cargo ships, now these are cargo ships, which are approximately, or rather this is the exact number, 56,591 ships on the date on which it was there. So we can say there are reasonable size and large size ships, which are 56,591 ships, which are today running in the world. Any questions, sir? Okay. Now, ships are financed in both the ways. One is leasing and the other is hire purchase. And in India, nobody is financing ships, but these are the top financiers of the ship in the world. So DNB Norway, they are the number one. Then in Germany, ibbi IPEX Bank, they are from Germany. Society General in France, they do it. We can go to Society General as an office in Delhi or I think in Bombay, they have an office for sure. So if you want your ship to be financed, you can go there and they will get it done from France. Then Nordea, which is from Nordic country. ABN AMRO, we know ABN AMRO. HSBC, Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. It was incorporated in London, was doing major business in Hong Kong. And after Hong Kong was handed over to the Chinese in 1997, they shifted all operations to UK except a small retail in Hong Kong. Citibank, we know Citi headquartered in New York, USA. Ing Bank, Netherlands, Standard Chartered, UK. Interestingly, Standard Chartered have been present in India for over 100 years, about 130 odd years. And then Credit Suisse, which is in Switzerland. So these are the top ship financiers. The reason I'm giving all such names is as a valuer, we should know who can be our client. And anything that floats on water and carries a cargo is a ship. That's what the definition we are going into at this moment. So, any idea who is the person who is rowing this boat?
Nisad.
Nisha. And crossing which river?
I think
Sarayu.
Mandakini.
Saryu, Mandakini. Sir, Lord Ram, Sita and Lakshman, their dress suggests that they are the time when they had gone to the forest. They are not in their kingly dress. So it cannot be Saryu.
It is, I think, in Chitrakoot, river is Mandakini.
Chitrakoot river is not Mandakini, it is, I think, some other river.
No, sir, I am from that place originally. I know
Aha. Okay.
which name is Mandakini.
Okay. So as the story goes, Bhagwan Ram, he wanted to cross, and this person, he said, "Sir, I have a problem. Last time you touched a boat or a stone, that whole thing converted into a lady. And if my boat also converts into a lady, then my everything is gone. So first I need to have a test." So he washed the legs of Ram, and after that he allowed him to go on the boat. Now, as per the present historians and who have evidence of geography and astronomy, this whole scenario was done approximately 12,500 years ago from now. So you can see boats being used 12,500 years ago in India, and so strongly listed in our what do you call culture and history and everything. Now, what are the parts of the ship? This is a slightly dirty slide, too congested. So there is a front side of the ship, and there is a back side. Then in the ship there is something which is dipped below the water, and normally if you see that area is painted with red color. On the ship, then there is a main deck. The deck is basically the place where you can keep the stuff, and then you have a bridge. Why it is called a bridge, I don't know, but that bridge is where you have all the ship controls and everything, and all those movies that we see, white color smart navy and shippies, which are standing there and doing all the things. So that's called a bridge. The ship is run by something called a propeller, which earlier used to be at the back, but now the modern ships, they are using several propellers, 4 to 6 propellers, and using more propellers keeps the ship steady and increases the speed of the ship in the water. But the propeller in this is in the end, the behind side. After that, you see something called a rudder. Rudder is what controls, it is the steering wheel of the ship. This is what turns the ship in either direction which we want to do. So these are the ships. Now, in this whole, any ship in the world, any ship has a very strong link to Kerala. The link is Kerala, Alleppey, has the largest cashew breaking, industry in the world. So a lot of the something like 60% or so cashew, it comes to Alleppey. They break the whole cashew and cashew nut, and from the nut take out cashew by hand. And after that, the cover which is left out or the kernel which is left out, they take out oil. That oil is the most anti-corrosive oil in the world, and they are used to put below the ship so that the salt water corrosion does not corrode the steel. So, interesting facts that Kerala is one of the big exporters of not one, it is the biggest exporter of, it is called CN, cashew kernel oil or something like that. So, very interesting on this. Anybody in the whole team who has worked on a ship, sir? Nobody. Okay, let us continue. Now, ships can be of different material. They can be of wood, steel, fiberglass. Any idea who uses fiberglass ships? All the rich Hollywood stars and the super rich of Japan and others, they have what is called these yachts. Now these yachts, they have fiberglass because it is much faster and more flashier, and they don't have fiberglass today. Also, is quite less corrosive. It is lightweight and so on. Bamboo ships. The thing earlier I was talking about quantity was bamboo. And bamboo in India is not very popular, but bamboo in Indonesia and those areas is very, very popular. And they have bamboo ships. And rubber and plastic floating things. Any idea, sir? Rubber and plastic? All these, most of these, what you call lifeboats that you see on the aircrafts or in ships, they are all made of rubber plastic and they are inflated. Correct, sir?
Sir,
So you see, suddenly from a steel ship, we are now talking about so many different type of things. Any questions? Anything? I hope everybody is finding it interesting, not boring.
yes, sir. Sir, NDRF team, those people are also using rubber plastic type boat for rescue operation.
Correct. So see, because there is a CP, because we are all doing it, then it becomes a focus, and we are able to see things in so many different lights, which we in our normal thing we are not able to devote time on. So that's what I said. Let me this I will not limit it to just the parameters, which can be a boring exercise. So it should be more of an information and a lot more about ships. Any other questions, sir? Let's go. Then there is a one-person ship. There is a story in Mahabharata about this one-person ship. Any idea, sir?
Karna, sir.
Karan, why don't you speak out the whole story, sir?
Sir, actually थोड़ा लंबा हो जाएगा. I can speak in Hindi.
थोड़ा इंग्लिश में भी कर दीजिए ना, लिटिल हिंदी.
Actually, Kunti got some blessing from the one rishi. I can't recall his name. I think he was Durvasa, I think. And he got boon that whenever he calls any god, he will come and he may have baby from that god. So when she was not married, she just to check that he had given correct boon, she called that god Sun. And when Sun came, she had a baby called later on called Karn. But actually, she was not married. So due to some social reason, she put that baby in that single man ship. What do you say, sir? And put it into a river. And that was just rescued by that. Karn's father, what was he called? That Sarthi of this last. I can't recall his name, sir.
So that is correct, sir. So the oldest story which goes on is that Karna, the eldest brother of Pandav, was set floated by Kunti, and then he was picked up by this Sarthi or horse keepers, and then from there he became a very big warrior and a friend of Duryodhan and so on.
Just
There
sir,
yes,
I recall his name. He was Adhirath.
Adhirath. Okay, thank you, sir. Another story of the same thing of Jews. Anybody knows about that? the Jews, all this fight happening in Gaza Strip between Israel's and Hamas. Israel are Jews and Hamas Palestinians are Islamic. So there is a very big story about the Jews also on this one-person ship. Okay, the story is Moses. Moses was a Jew, and he also was put like this on the Nile, and he was picked up by the king of Egypt called Ramesses, and he did not have a child, so he treated him like a child. And later, of course, he had a child and so on. Later, when Moses was 34, 35 or whatever, then it came to know that he is a Jew. So Jews were supposed to be the workers and the lower caste, so-called lower caste of Egypt. Then they were thrown out of Egypt, and he took all the Jews from there to the present, what is Israel. And they came there because Moses came to, suddenly that this is a land which God has given it to them, the promised land. And this story is also supposed to be something like 8,000, 7,000 years ago. So that's another very major story of the Jews, the Moses, who's supposed to be the person who gave Jews the first voice. From there, it came on. The picture on the right is something which goes on in Kerala, where you have these food baskets which are floating. There are people sitting there also having nice eats, and of course also in a what you call swimming pools. So you can see what is the way innovation things are going on. I'm not the first one, the second one. Any idea, sir, from that cruise ship from Varanasi to Hooghly? Has it started?
Yes, sir. Last year started. I think in
It
August.
started last year. Any idea what is the ticket? You're right, madam. It started last year. Any idea what is the ticket? The
I
ticket
cannot. Expensive, quite expensive. I cannot exactly remember the amount, but what I remembered, it was quite expensive.
Only out of memory, it is something like 5 to 6 lakh rupees, and it is booked for 1 year.
This must be mostly booked by the foreigners. Maybe.
Mostly booked by foreigners, yes. But just imagine this Modi making that whole thing in a such a big tourist area. It's a 28-day trip and so on. Okay, let us continue. China shipping line, you can see these large ships. Today, these type of ships, any idea how many containers would they be carrying? Okay, in the shipping parlance, a standard container is 20 feet. So whenever we say container, we will keep it to a 20 feet container. 20 feet is standard container. And any idea? So a ship like this typically carries 28,000 containers. 28,000. So you can imagine how large they are. And these ships are over half a kilometer long and really big ships. So these were the type of ships which blocked the Suez Canal for 2 weeks, for which there were so much of the whole shipping line is stopped and so on. The name of that ship was Evergreen. So what are the different usage of ships? The different usage of ships, of course, can be cargo, which is the largest user. Then it is cruiser, which is becoming a very big industry in itself. On the cruiser side, let me give a little news about Gujarat, and this is when our Prime Minister Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. I was also working in Baroda in Larsen and Toubro. So I was staying in a place called Abhilasha Chowkadi for our friend from Baroda. So one of the idea which was proposed was that Gujarat being a dry state, so they will put a ship from Surat, take it to 20 kilometers out of the seashore, 20 or 30 kilometers, and then float it to Bhavnagar. And that whole trip will take about 14 to 15 hours. Now, the whole advantage of doing that was that once it is out of the commercial line of India, then that ship can serve liquor and gambling and so on, and then to make money out of it. Very typical of Gujarati people to think innovative way, but fortunately or unfortunately, that did not happen. So the cruisers are these large ships. The country which is using the largest number of cruisers is Norway and Finland, and they are the largest producer of cruisers in the world. Navy, of course, we all know. The British is used to say that their conquer is because of Navy. Though Navy today, Navy warfare has become much more complicated because they are using submarines and flights and helicopters and so on. Then, of course, personal for fun, which are yachts, which we see in a lot of Hollywood movies. There was another movie on which he was there. What do you call Anil Kapoor on some yacht or some ships or some cruise or something.
It was a cruise, sir.
Cruise. You remember the name?
I think Dil Dhadakne Do.
Dil Dhadakne Do. Okay. So there we are. And then, of course, we have river boats. Where are you from, Madam Gupta?
Kolkata, sir. West Bengal.
West Bengal. No, don't call West Bengal. Call Paschim Bengal.
Paschim Bengal. Paschim Bangla, sir. If I say Paschim Bengal, it's wrong. It's Paschim Bangla.
Paschim Bangla. I hope Madam Mamta Didi will not raise objections. Okay, continue. Now, let me ask a very interesting story. This is year 100 BC. The king of Kochi was asked if there is anyone who can tell the weight of the king. And this story is written in some of the places in Kochi, and I saw that. And then, of course, the king of Kochi said, go ahead and do it. And then it was not done unless some intelligent person came up and said he will do. Any idea how it was done?
Sir, Archimedes principle.
Archimedes principle. Okay. So what it was? How it was done?
Actually, there must be a tank full of water, and elephant should enter into that pond, and whatever water comes out, accordingly we can calculate the weight.
Okay, that is one way. As the story goes, it was slightly different, and I will tell the story. This is very interesting. Okay, this basically comes to Archimedes' principle, as what you correctly said, sir. And the Archimedes' principle is that if the mass of water displaced is equal to the body that it is displacing, the mass of water in the body will float. This was in 287 BC, Archimedes in 212 BC. He was in Syracuse, Sicily, and he was considered the biggest brain in an ancient Western world. He also said that if you give me a long enough lever to hold, I can take the moon out of its orbit. So that is Archimedes. It is also said that when this city was attacked, the first person they killed was Archimedes because he was the scientist and he had made that whole city so strong. Now, what he found was that to anything to float, the weight of the water which will be displaced will be equal to the weight what it is supposed to float. Then the whole ship will float. So if you see an iron bar, it will go down because the weight of water displaced is less. But a ship is made in a manner by which it displaces much more water. So coming back to the ship, the scientist in Kochi, he put the ship in a boat. After he put it on the boat, the boat went down a lot of it. He marked how much of the boat went down. He took the ship out. So he took the elephant out. After he took the elephant out, then he asked the people to fill it with stones. And they kept on filling it with the stones till the time the same level of depth was there in the boat. So the boat sank only to that level. And then he took the weight of the individual stones, total, and got the weight of the elephant. So it is the same Archimedes principle used in a different way, in a different place, in a very interesting way. Okay, any questions so far, sir? I hope you're not getting bored.
No, sir. It is very nice. Thank you.
Interesting, a lot of things about ships. Okay, let us go further. What are the power source to move the ship? Or a boat or a floating device? Human. We know human. We also have seen those movies where there used to be a guy with a hunter and everybody used to row those ships. The most common cargo in those ships was slaves from Africa going to America. On the other side, Americans got into a different problem with the slaves. The slave trade was started by the Sultan of Oman from a place called, any idea about that place where they started this trade?
Zanzibar.
Zanzibar, absolutely correct, sir. Thank you, sir. So Zanzibar was the place, and the way it started was that East Africa, there are certain tribes of local population which are little weaker on the intelligence side. So they were caught and brought to Zanzibar where all these auctions happened, which was under the command of Sultan of Oman. And this was the time when those books of Zanzibar were written. I'm forgetting the name. The seven, some on travels and so on. And Zanzibar was also very, very interesting. One of the strongest point for spice trade from India, which used to happen from Kochi. So Zanzibar is today part of Tanzania. So that is where, but the slaves which went to USA were from Nigeria, and they all used to move by the human power. Wind, we have seen the wind, the sails and everything. In Hyderabad, there is still a sailing competition which is held, which is quite popular in that big lake in between. Petrol, gas, we all know. Furnace oil. See, when crude is refined, the lightest part is the gas. Then the second heavier is aircraft fuel. And a little heavier is petrol. And then diesel, kerosene, and so on. The biggest dirt, which is charcoal, damer, bitumen, that is there for which you put it on the roads. A little lighter than that is for furnace oil. And that furnace oil is the largest way by which ships are run. So there are furnace oil engines, very large size engines on which these ships are run. just to give you an idea about the size of these engines. These engines are something like 25-30,000 horsepower. Any idea how much is a Maruti Wagoner? How much horsepower? So a Maruti Wagoner is approximately 70-75 horsepower. So these engines are 1,000 Wagoner engines all into one. Big size engines, and there are just 3 companies in the world which makes these engines. One is Mitsubishi Heavy, other is WMW, and third is this one more, Wärtsilä. The 3 companies which are making these engines and nobody else. And these are done by oil. Then solar has also started coming up, especially on yachts, and so on. Hydrogen. Anybody has an idea if hydrogen is started being used in these engines? Hydrogen ships have already started. There is a regular service in France from Paris to Lyon, where there are several ships, cargo ships, which are running in hydrogen. And Maersk, they have already ordered several ships which will be run by hydrogen. So the whole idea here coming is that with the solar energy becoming more and more prevalent, today solar energy, making solar energy is much, much cheaper than making from coal. So solar energy is going to become the biggest energy source now. The problem with this solar electricity is you cannot store it. But if you convert it into hydrogen, then we can store the solar energy. So this hydrogen is one which will act like a compressed natural gas and so on. Interestingly, there is another energy source which Modi ji and the government is doing a lot thing. In Hindi, it is called gobar gas, and in English, it is called biogas. So there are more than 2,000 biogas plants which are going to be set up in the country. And the methane which is excluded out of the gobar of the cows and buffaloes, that will be used to produce methane. And will be used to produce methane. Then along with that, there is a huge amount of bio waste which is being produced, and Punjab, they burn it, and then the whole Delhi becomes smoky. Not only that, in many places, this amount of waste is very high, even for rice and wheat. If you see the amount of kgs of wheat and the kgs of wastage which is there, the wastage by weight is more than the weight of the wheat per se which is eaten. So all of those will be used to produce biogas. The good thing about biogas is it is a circular pollution, circular carbon or carbon neutral, because that biogas is produced out of carbon, and that carbon was produced out of the carbon dioxide taken from the atmosphere. So already in several cities, they have started putting biogases inside the piped natural gas, which comes to our homes. And the next is hydrogen. In India, for the people who are interested in the stock market, already Bangalore has ordered hydrogen buses, and the supplier is going to be Reliance plus another company called Octomare or something like that, I'm not sure. The largest 3 companies which are going into hydrogen are number 1, Reliance, number 2, Adani, and number 3, L&T. And hydrogen is going to be the next energy source. So for people who are interested in the stock market, they may consider taking a bet on these 3 companies, because Mukesh Ambani has already announced that he wants to be the largest hydrogen producer in the world. Hydrogen is used in 2 ways. One is it is used in a fuel cell, where it combines with the atmospheric oxygen to become water. and there is no moving plant. It's a chemical reaction. Electricity is produced. And the second way to do it is through a normal engine that we know. So both the technologies are available and both the technologies are used. Any questions, any comments?
Clear, sir.
Controls of ships. So how do we control ships? The control of the ship is through this rudder. This rudder is something which is behind the propeller. This something like a fan is called a propeller. It pushes the water outside, and this rudder, it directs the water in the direction which we want to move. So this is a rudder on which we do it. So the control of ships are through these rudders. Then there are something called deflectors and through GPS systems. Today, there are ships which can be run fully automated without any person, which are GPS system ships, and there are multi-propellers. So several propellers can be there. Any comments, sir? Okay. I have been speaking a lot, so let me take a few minutes break for about, let's say about till 1:15 or so, and then we will restart. Let me get a glass of water, whatever. Yeah, I'm back. Let's continue. Or let's wait. I've set 1:15, so another few minutes. Okay, let us start again. Any questions so far? Any questions, anything? Let us continue. So on today's discussion, we will get into the commercial side, which is large cargo ships as a basic discussion, but we can all use a similar pattern even for other type of ships. Now, how are ships ordered? Let us understand that whole process. Now, the person who wants to buy a ship goes to different shipyards. The largest shipyards in the world are in Japan and China for commercial cargo ships, and they are in Finland for cruise ships. Of course, even in India, we have got several shipyards. One of the biggest shipyards which went into fraud was ABC shipyard or something like that. And there are L&T used to have a shipyard, but I don't know whether they are still running it. It used to be in Chennai. And of course, we have got several Astan Dock and others, which are mainly Navy shipyards. So what happens is he gives his requirement to the shipyard, which are total container of the type of cargo. Now here, when I say cargo, the material can be carried in containers, but things like LPG gas or oil, they are carried in special ships, which are meant for only those, and nothing else can be carried on those except that particular thing. There is another very special ship which are called ro-ro. Ro-ro means roll in, roll out. These ships are which carry cars and trucks from one country to another. The largest ro-ro ship is owned by Toyota, which is also the largest producer of cars in 2023. So they use their ships, and of course there are commercial ships which can take from one place to another. These are ro-ro ships. So then you have bulk cargo. Bulk cargo means where the material can be kept as it is or in gunny bags, no need for containers. So there are different type of ships. So when the customer or the ship operator, like Shipping Corporation of India or anybody, Maersk or somebody, when they decide, they take out the trend, which are the ships which are going out. So they go to the shipyard and then they give the requirements. The requirement is the type of cargo. Then they also specify what is the maximum speed. Because larger the speed, the fuel consumption goes up very high, and smaller the speed, then you are not able to make it viable. So there is a speed range which is also given. Then they also talk about fuel per ton per kilometer. How much will be the consumption of the fuel? Because this consumption of the fuel will decide the total weight of the ships and the type and so many other things. So that is also discussed. The type of fuel which will be used. Today, we have not heard of nuclear ships because nuclear, for making a nuclear ship, there are government regulations and the international bodies, but there are all other type of ships which are being used. So what is the type of fuel which will be used? Then the question comes in is the time of delivery. When will the ship deliver? Now in time of delivery, the fastest delivery today is being quoted by Japan. So Japan is not the cheapest, but they are able to compete very strong with China for both the two things, time of delivery, fuel efficiency, and cost. So it is not that even with such a high cost economy of Japan, but still in shipbuilding, they are still working very, very fast. Just a small side interesting fact, there were 2 atom bombs which were dropped on Japan by US, one at Hiroshima, the other at Nagasaki. Now in Nagasaki, there's a reason why it was dropped. It was dropped because that was a base of a company called Mitsubishi Heavy Industry. And Mitsubishi Heavy Industry was the company which was funding Japan for their World War and even before that. So the whole idea why Japan was in the war, Japan war started much before World War II. They had captured a large area of China, of Tainan and others because the Japanese population was growing and they did not know what to do. And Mitsubishi Heavy was the main thing for funding all of this. And the word Mitsubishi means three diamonds, which was made from the owner of Mitsubishi as for his three sons. And the business they started was repair of ships in Nagasaki. But unfortunately, when the bomb was dropped, there was a wind blowing and it went beyond the hill and it fell on top of a church. So the whole factory and everything was stopped. So this is just out of very interesting facts on how things are, Mitsubishi and how Mitsubishi related to ships and atom bombs and so on. So, and they are one of the largest engine maker for the ships, Mitsubishi Heavy Industry. So another thing what it has to decide is the routes it will take. Now this routes becomes important if they have to cross Suez Canal or the Panama Canal. The reason is the width of these canal is limited, you can't change it. The depth to which the ships can go is also limited. So if a ship has to go through any of these two or both, then there is a restriction on how much deep it can be or how much wide it can be. So that's another thing which comes into the whole picture. Expected life of a ship, a normal life of a ship is 25 to 40 years. So normally they tell till what time they expect to do it. Then features on the decks, do they want cranes on the decks or what they want and so on. What is the type of crew size they want to keep on the ships and whatever other things. So if we look, it is not an easy thing to order a ship. There's a lot of things which are required to be discussed and obviously these doesn't get finalized in one meeting. It is not a RFQ which is being released or a tender which is being released because there are too many discussions which happen before the final specs are finalized. Any questions on this, sir? Any questions?
The expected life, you
Yes.
said that within 15 to 25 to 40 years. So it is for, is there any list or anything is there where the category, based on the category, the total life is given?
Okay. As per the Companies Act Schedule 2, the life of the ship is 25 years. But you see, those are for accounting purpose. In actual purpose, things keep changing. So if a ship is well maintained from a very good shipyard, it lasts up to 40 years, otherwise 30 years. And I'll cover about ship life later also, because that is a very important point in valuation. The residual life of the ship. And the residual life of the ship is important into financing of the ship and also the insurance of the ship.
Right. No, I'm asking that based on the category you mentioned, wood, steel, fiberglass, bamboo, rubber, all
I'm
the
only talking about the steel.
cargo only.
Only steel and cargo.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Even the Companies Act in India, it mentions only for steel and cargo.
Okay.
Then supplier prepares the proposal, and the critical point on these proposals is the time of delivery and fuel consumption. Fuel consumption is very important because 60 to 65% of the running of the ship cost is on fuel consumption. So 1% fuel saving makes very big fuel saving. And during this, whatever is the agreement, if the fuel consumption is less than the agreement, then there's a bonus which is given to the shipyard. And if it is more, then there is a penalty which is paid to the shipyard. The time of delivery is very important because can you guess what is the important thing? It is the delivery of the engine, which decides the time of delivery for the ship. Everything else can be done, but the engine is something for which it takes anything between 8 months to 30 months on the time of delivery. So another thing on the time of delivery is availability of a dock. Dock means where the ship will be made. Now, ship is not made, piecemeal and then it is joined. The ship has to be welded through and throughout, and the whole welding is a absolute manual process. So it has to be done. I will also show some more pictures on ship being made. Availability of the power source engine that we talked about, and then availability of raw material, mainly steel and other items of the deck, which means crane, pumps, pipes, and so on. The steel availability, though it looks to be pretty easy, but it is not, because these steel plates are of very specific thickness and has to be given at a very specific pace. So I was visiting one shipyard in Japan where they were using water to cut the steel plates. The steel plate were about 19 millimeter thick. 19 millimeters, 3/4 of an inch thick, and they were being cut by water because by water jet cutting, it was the lowest cost and the wastage was the smallest. If you cut by flame, then the wastage was very, very high. So the ship builders, they are very sensitive to all such things. Now, this is something where a ship is being made. You can see there's a shuttering like thing which is done, and ship starts getting weight from below and it goes to the top, and all of these weldings which is taking place all over. These are again ship constructions going on. So you need the cranes to put material on top of the ships and so on. A typical cargo ship, which is about 20,000 containers and above, only the manufacturing cycle in Japan is the smallest at about 11 months. China takes about 14 months, and European, they take about 18 months. European shipbuilding is still there because there is a lot of government subsidy to the shipbuilding, especially in Greece. Anybody recalls something of Greek shipping and US? Somebody, wife in US married somebody and was the shipping magnate from Greece? John F. Kennedy, after he was assassinated, his wife, Jackie Kennedy, married the largest shipping company owner of Greek. So that is something, some of those interesting facts. So the next step is the proposal is given a go ahead after negotiation. And at this point also the final price is not decided. because there's a range of price which are decided. Then the order is filed to a ship registrar. Now you cannot start construction of the ship till a registrar agrees to it. Now the registrar, there are only 12 main registrar and 24 sub-registrars, and each ship is to be assigned a country flag. So I, as an Indian, can buy a ship which will be registered in Panama or London or Tokyo or any of the 12 or Indian this thing. So it will have an Indian flag as a ownership is Indian, but it will be registered with a different registrar. And then registrar, they check something what is called the basic parameter, which goes up to 400 to 500 pages, and then they release the permission to start the building of the ship. And unless the permission is given to build the ship, building the ship doesn't start, because shipping industry in this manner is extremely strict. So once they release the permission, then it comes to design work. The basic design work starts. There are 3 set of design which are done, and 2 set of designs have to be approved by registrar before they are released or given a green signal to go ahead. So one is the basic design, which they give to registrar, they approve it, and then there is a detailed design with major equipment which are submitted to registrar, and they approve that also. So there is a serious work which is going on here between the registrar and the shipyard and the customer. So all 3 are in constant discussion for all such things. Any questions so far? Okay, so now you can see some of the prices. I was expecting this question earlier, but you can now see some of the prices of the ships which are approximate prices on the market today. So a dry bulk is nowadays about $49.6 million in 2022 $1 billion. Dry bulk means you put, let's say, wood or whatever as a bulk, not in a container. Then there is general cargo, which is 17 million. General cargo can take containers, it can take dry bulk, it can take a lot of things. And containerized ship, which is about 68.2 million US dollar, and crude oil tankers is over $100 million. That is why you see the price. That is why it becomes more attractive to make pipelines and pump the oil. So life of a ship ranges between 10 years to 35 or 40 years. And the decision of the life of the ship is taken by the following parameters. One is the cost of maintenance versus revenue it brings. Because if better fuel efficient ships start coming in, then the price of the logistics changes. And when that changes, the older ships become non-viable. Now, another thing is that is one. The second thing is availability of spare parts. 30, 40-year-old engine, a lot of pumps, and so many spare parts don't get available. And these are very, very large items. They're so large that if we have to change it, we have to cut open the ship, physically cut open the ship. So that is even more costly than the cost of the engine and so on. So that is not done. Then another thing is cost of insurance. The cost of insurance follows a U curve. In the beginning, it has a higher insurance, and as the IDV goes down, the cost of insurance goes down. But after some time, when the ship becomes real old, cost of insurance also starts going old because the risk for the ship to go back becomes even more. And cost of energy per ton per kilometer, that keeps on changing. Of course, with the technology, we always keep improving the technology and fuel efficiencies, and so it is there. So basically, the life of ship gets decided by operation cost and energy cost, not per se by deterioration of the ship hull or something. Okay, a little digression. How much is the life of the Rajdhani Express which were introduced? What is the life of the Vande Bharat trains which are coming? Any guess? Sir, please have a guess at least.
25 years?
25 years was the life of Rajdhani when it was introduced. However, it has already crossed 35. The biggest difference between Rajdhani and the latest Vande Bharat trains are Rajdhani is all steel trains, whereas Vande Bharat are stainless steel aluminum trains, whereby they have a much lighter weight as compared to the older Rajdhani. And number two is on the technology side, Rajdhani, they use what is called an engine in the front and pull everything like the bullock cart, whereas the Vande Bharat uses a technology where every bogie or where every coach has got a motorized way of, and the wheel is powered with every alternate coach. By doing that, the cost of energy required is much less, and the speed at which it can move is also faster. And of course, all the material inside. If you see the latest coaches of railway, the material which are used for seats and so on are much lighter, much better color combination as compared to what it was with Rajdhani. So, like our trains, which do not have, any train rather, which do not have a life beyond 25 or 30 years and they are still running, it only means we did not, as a country, we did not put in enough effort to change it. The life of expected of Vande Bharat is supposed to be 30 years, as per the announcements which I have read in the newspaper. And one of the big reasons why Vande Bharat is being promoted at such a fast pace is that all the old coaches and other things of Indian Railway have become so old that they have to reduce the speed to avoid accidents. So that is one. The second reason is that the largest export of railway equipment is Germany and Spain and Japan, and India wants to enter into that market, especially in Africa, which is underdeveloped and they require a lot of trains. So now if you see our political leadership and our Ministry of External Affairs, they keep on landing up in Africa every few months is only because they are trying to promote so many things of exporting to engineering, which was something we could never imagine 15, 20 years ago. Slightly off track. Now this is a shipyard scrap. This is an actual picture of Alang. Alang is near Bhavnagar, where they cut the ships. We will talk more about it later also. Any questions, anything?
Sir, you talked about life of Rajdhani and Vande Bharat. Sir, actually, we are talking about life of those coaches only or with engine? Because
See-
in every train, I think Rajdhani also, they are keep changing the engines and coaches are same. So,
Yes, see, engine is a separate thing and coaches are separate.
so we are talking about coaching only.
We are talking about coaches because today engines in India, they are being made up to 12,000 horsepower. 12,000 horsepower are not used for passenger, they are used for large size cargo and bulk carrier and what do you call iron ore and so on. So engine technology has gone up, but on the coaches and all, we have unfortunately not been able to move at those fast pace.
Okay, sir.
So the idea for telling all of this is that in heavy engineering, it looks like it will keep going on. It does not happen. It doesn't go on. I remember the first flight I took from India to Japan was in 1984. And those were those 747s of Maharaja because only Air India was there. Today, we don't see any of those aeroplanes flying in the world. So even aeroplanes, they have a life and economic life is the main reason, not necessarily everything is of engineering. Whereas in engineering, if you see heavy duty presses, they are used up to 100 years because these are stationary and they can be repaired and a lot of things can happen. So this is the ship scrapyard. The largest scrapyard in the world is Alang, which is near Bhavnagar in Gujarat. Bhavnagar also has a very interesting history, which is related to the Parsis of India. Parsis means the Godrej and Tatas and so on. See, about 600 or 500 years ago, when the Zoroastrians ran from Iran, Iraq, they landed up in India, and the first place they made their base was Bhavnagar. From Bhavnagar, they went to other places, mainly Mumbai. So the original place where they landed was Bhavnagar. And even though the largest diamond polishing industry today is in Surat, it all started with areas around Bhavnagar, Amroli, and so on. So from there it came to Surat. Anyway, these are some interesting things. Now, where are ships scrapped? They are scrapped in Bharat, in Alang, Gujarat. They are scrapped in Bangladesh, Pakistan, and China. They are also scrapped in Turkey, but these are the 4-5 biggest places. Now, how do you scrap a ship? A ship is deregistered, then ship is auctioned, and these auctions take place in London. Then the ship is sent to the cutting yard. Steel is cut, each set, another item removed, and all is sold. We are going to cover some part of it at a later date because this becomes an important part for the valuation of the ships, plus some prices at which the ships get sold. Okay, so out here, let us take a 5-7 minute question answers or sharing experiences or anything, and then we should break out for lunch.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes,
The
please.
ship auctioned in London, all the entities around the world, all the ships have to go to London only, because
No.
in India we have in Kolkata we have Garden shipbuilding.
That is a shipyard.
Yeah.
Making ship.
Yeah, but the ship not I'm not talking auctioning, but cutting and all these things also done in Kolkata also.
That is very small. You are right. See, London is a auction house of scrap ships. Like, for example, London Metal Exchange is the largest exchange or the like the stock market for material. especially for metals in the world. But London is not a producer of any metal. So जिसको बोलते हैं ना मंडी है.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, for example, Calcutta was the largest tea auction place in the world. The largest amount of tea was auctioned there. From London, it moved to Colombo, and from Colombo today it has moved to Mombasa. So today, Indian tea is quite expensive, and tea coming out from Africa is where it is going to the world. So the whole center of course, there is a big tea auction house in London, and all the big tea companies are in London with their Bada Babu clubs. But that is where it is. So London has become a ship auction, and the reason why it has become like that, the first registrar of ships was started by London. Another thing, London has the privilege of Lloyd Insurance. They were the first organized ship insurance companies. So that is why London started becoming a center. Plus, of course, they were political masters for a lot of places in the world. And traditionally, they have continued like that. Anything else? Anywhere? We have a group of. We have a group of 52. Sorry. Yes, please.
In this scrapping, after the ship is deregistered, can it sail in the high seas?
Yes, it is sailed. What it happens is it is given a special number from one point to another with a minimum of the crew. They are not authorized to take any cargo or anything. It is just what is called, what in India is called the last, what is it? Antim Yatra. The last.
Okay. And then where can the people who are bidding for the auction, they have to go to the respective country to see the ship?
Yes, of course. If they want, they can go to the country to see the ship. Otherwise, because these ships, we are also talking about 200 crore, 300 crore. So a trip to that area is how much? 1 lakh, 2 lakh?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there are also third-party independent valuers. That is where our job comes in, is that we can go and check all the things of the ship, and we can give an estimated value.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The largest, Alang, those people who are the traders, they are mostly based from Mumbai and Gujarat only. So far, nobody has been able to enter that market from anywhere else in India except Mumbai and Gujarat. And some of them have also shifted their offices to UK and Europe, basically because they can get loan easier from there as compared to an Indian bank.
Sir,
Anything else?
Sir, I want to just clarify. You told that there are 12 registrar offices.
12 main registrar.
Main
Major
registrar.
registrar.
Major
Plus, plus there are about 24 which were also registrars, but they were not considered as main registrars.
Okay, sir. So, if we want to deregister the ship, we have to go to same registrar office?
Yes, same registrar.
Okay.
It is exactly like you do in car. So if I have a car registered in Ahmedabad, then I can definitely go to Calcutta registrar office that I want to deregister the car in Ahmedabad. With today's computer, they will take all the documents, they will send it to Ahmedabad, and Ahmedabad people will go to sleep. Then we will call some broker in Ahmedabad who will wake them up and do it. But the deregister does take place only in the same thing. and this automatically gets updated in the central registry of the ship.
This defense ships, do they need to be registered?
No, sir. Defense
No.
ships, nobody knows what is inside the defense ship.
Okay.
I'll give you another thing. The last BrahMos missile which was tested, there is still a doubt what is the total range. Some people say there is 5,000, some say it is 7,000, some say it is 9,000. Even that is not declared by the government. It is defense.
Okay.
So yes, some parts are released to public, but majority of the things they are not released. They are just they just are put onto the defense, nothing. Also, to register a ship, you need to have it on a minimum certain size and so on. So a fishing boat made in, let us say, Mandvi in Gujarat, which is going to go only up to 150 kilometer, it may not even require that level of registration. A local registry at Mandvi shipping control may be required. So that also, one has to be clear that we don't require all the ships, all the world to be registered. So it is a certain category and so on. Anything else, sir? If nothing, then let us break for lunch and we meet at 2, 3, 4, 3 o'clock. Right, sir?
Okay, sir.
Or can we meet early?
Yeah, that should be better, sir.
Okay, can we then agree, all of us agree to take a 30-minute break?
Yeah, 2:30 will be fine, I think.
2:30 is okay, sir.
2:30, okay. Is everybody okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
No,
Okay.
Divya Jyoti also has to be okay. Kajal is there?
Yes, sir.
He must have had a
Kajal.
lunch.
No, Kajal would be listening. She is very sincere. So, Kajal, 2:30, is it okay for you?
Yes, sir, it's okay. If everyone is okay with the timings, then we are okay with that.
Chalo, wonderful. So let's do it half an hour before. 2:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, shall we start? There's still a lot of people to come.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay, let us start. Okay, we had covered here. Any questions so far? Chalo, if there is something we can take. Now, whenever a ship starts to the end, the ship is scrapped. All records of the ships are kept. So all journeys are recorded. All weight of the cargo is recorded. Rather, every container is recorded. It is called a manifest. How much fuel is used? It is recorded. All maintenance is recorded. The ship's main manpower name and unique IDs are recorded, and the annual inspection is recorded. So in case of a ship, everything which can be there for the ship is recorded. So like a child is born, the weight taken at that time, the person to the last side, every time, everything is recorded. And most of these records are available for public, and if not for public, at least it is available to registrar and to the people who matter. So the advantage is, unless these things are recorded, the ship may not get a permission to continue sailing. It may be stopped. So this is something which is very good. And whenever we are going to do for valuation, we should ask for these records. Now, as per the Company Act Schedule 2, the life of ship is 25 years, normal cargo and the residual value of 5%. However, this is for accounting purpose and does not reflect the true value of asset. Now, I want to just put in a few words here of my experience. A residual value is something which has been given for accounting purpose and it does not reflect the actual value. We were doing a valuation of a multi-story complex, and it had a problem with the government on a structure. And what they wanted was the value in case it is broken and sold. And the value that we were able to get was zero. The reason being, the person, we talked to several people, and all the people said we will charge so much for breaking it. And then they also said we will charge so much extra for shifting it, and all the things that we can do is we can do everything is for free in case we are allowed to take the car. Oh, sorry, that is scrap. So there the residual value of 5% will not hold. On the other side, let us take a generator where there is a lot of copper. Now, the copper prices would have gone up, and in that case, the original value of the asset, the average value of the asset after 15, 18 years may actually be more than the scrap value may be more than the original because the amount of copper is so high. So when we talk of residual value, we should not assume a blanket residual value of 5%. And on several reviews that I have done for other valuers, we have noted that they have put a 5% in all the cases, which is uncomfortable. Let us say wooden furniture. After 15 years, the wood will be sold at a scrap. So the furniture was purchased. Let us say a table was purchased at 5,000 rupees. So after end of 20 years, it will not be 250 rupees, maybe only 20 rupees. Maybe we have to give money to take it out. So this is something which we should be slightly careful about. And in ships, this is much more important. Now we will just review the three market approaches. We have the market approach, we have the income approach, and we have the cost approach. In a market approach, there is an exchange of similar asset on the ongoing basis, and the trade of the asset are between unrelated party at an arm length, and both the parties are selfish and knowledgeable of the asset. So this is what we is a standard definition of valuation, a standard definition of market. And normally things which are traded on a regular basis, we use this approach. The income approach, the asset can generate an income on its alone basis. And the income generated is over a reasonable period of time. So if it is a ship, there is one asset and it can generate income on a regular basis and alone. So income approach can be used here. So that's the income approach. And in the cost approach, we know the replacement cost is to be a certain, residual life to be a certain, depreciation calculated, and obsolescence is to be evaluated, and then the value is calculated. That's a standard approach on all the three bases. Now let us see which approaches are we going to take for ship valuation. Now, if we look into the income, what are the various factors which will affect the income of a ship? One is a geopolitical issue. Now, in the Red Sea, the Gaza Strips, there is a war going on. So the number of ships flying on that has reduced. When that reduces, the ship has to go all the way to Africa and go out. They cannot increase all the prices. So the income in that matter goes down. On the other side, for the same thing, when the ship has to go through the Cape of Good Hope of Africa, the number of ships requirement will go up because it is taking more time to deliver the same amount of cargo. Another issue which becomes very important when it is going through a certain route is pirates. And Somalia pirates, we have all heard, have been a nuisance for a very, very long time. There was also a Hollywood movie made on Somalia pirates, which was pretty horrifying on how they get into the ship and how they control the ship and take the money and so on. So this affects the income of the ship. Even though there are insurances against the pirates, effectively that all is a cost. Another very, very interesting is availability of containers. Now, you can only send a container if there is an empty container available. Now, after COVID, the availability of the container was restricted and the cost of logistics increased by 3x factors. Now, let me give you an example or several examples on availability of containers. The cost to ship one container from Calcutta to Singapore is just about $80. And the cost to ship a container from Chittagong to Singapore is about $800. What is the difference? The difference is there are more number of empty containers in Calcutta, and those containers have any way to go out of Calcutta, otherwise there will not be any, they cannot be left there, and cargo will not be loaded on this. So there is a cost which the container company, they have to bear by shipping out empty containers. So whatever cargo they get is an extra cost. Similarly, in Moradabad, which is a big export hub, there are over 100 containers which are exported from there every day. And in case they don't get new containers or empty containers, the export will not happen. So in these areas, the empty container becomes a big issue. And there are ships and there are trains which is only job is to carry empty containers. So if in a particular route, you are not having empty containers or you are only taking empty containers, so that will also affect the income of a ship. Crude price. In a crude price, a 500 container ship traveling at 17 knots, 17 knot is approximately 20 kilometers per hour, consumes about 50 tons of fluid per day. So this is about 60% of the total cost of running. So crude price is a very, very big factor in income of the ship. Crew, when the shipping cost is high, crew cost is also high. Even the shipping cost is high. People want to run the ship for more length of time. They want to make sure the ships don't stay idle, and then they need more crew. And when they need more crew, the cost of the crew is high. Important thing here is most of the international shipping lines, they do not hire a crew on a permanent basis. They are hired on a contractual basis ranging between 6 months to 11 months or 1 year. And then that 1 year is under preventive maintenance. So at that time, they don't pay to the crew. And the crew people, all the manpower, they are internationally registered with what all ships they have traveled and what they have done and accidents and whatever. So when they apply for the job, everything is known about the crew. Another factor in income of a ship is the draft. Draft means what is the clean depth to the float to come to the harbor. So these large ships, 28,000 container and so on, they need a draft or the depth from the surface of the sea of about 40 meters. So if the ship, if the depth is not 40 meters, they cannot come to the harbor. Then they have to be parked 4-5 kilometers away from the harbor. They will take out the container, load it in a small ship, and the small ship will bring it there. So in case it's in the harbor, then the ships can be unloaded and loaded at a very fast pace. So all of these things, they affect the income of the ship. So like if we go into little detail, US-China trade issues. So lower imports from China, the shipping cost changes drastically. Gaza Strip conflict, Somali pirates, Ukraine conflict. Now in Ukraine conflict, the cost, the wheat and fertilizers and everything which was coming there, they suddenly started, they got an embargo and also the cost went up. So these things also plus the income factor. And oil export sanctions on Venezuela and Iran. In fact, in case they allow Venezuela and Iran to export oil at $82 a barrel, which is there today, can come down to $55, but that is not coming in. So all of these, they affect the income factors. Container availability, we talked about the containers. The standard goods are shipped in containers. They are basically two sizes of container, which is called 20 feet and 40 feet. 20 feet container is 20 feet long, 10 feet wide, and approximately 10 feet high. The height can vary depending on things, but this is a very standard size, 10 and 20. And the problem here is empty containers are needed to stuff and ship. In case there is no empty container, where do you do it? So for a balanced two-way trade, container flow is balanced. And Muradabad, we talked about Kandla and Mudra, which are net importer, empty containers are lying in plenty there. And container management is an important factor in cargo availability. In the shipping industry, there are large departments whose job is only container management. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 high containers are stacked. This is an empty container yard. This picture of empty container yard is of some place near Calcutta, but we can see these type of similar things near Nhava Sheva port in Bombay or in near Mundra port, everywhere. Any questions? The rent to put the empty container in the ground is also calculated on a per day basis. So the way it works is when an empty container comes, it comes in a truck. So from taking out the container and keeping it in a place and then taking out from that and bringing it back to the truck, there is a standard cost. And then after that, per day cost is calculated for each container. It is also a logistic problem because the container that you have got, you don't know when it will go. So there is always a large amount of movement going on inside these empty container yards, that which container is coming and which is going and so on. And in Mundra and other, there are huge areas. When I say huge areas, means 20, 30 acres where you can see these type of things, and not one, many. Any questions? Any idea who's making these containers in India?
Container Corporation of India?
They are not making,
Okay,
they are shipping.
okay.
But there are several people who are now making it. BEML is one, BHEL was also making for some time, and there are other smaller companies which have started. It's a very simple operations in fabrication, but there is all the demand for containers are going up. India is very keen to have a large size of Indian containers, because if the containers are not with us, then our trade can be stifled by international parties. They may say, no, we cannot give you containers and so on. Crude price. The crude price is the largest cost for running a ship. It can be as high as 60% of the total variable cost. And any changes on that, it affects the profitability. So it also puts a pressure to make alternate routes. China to Europe is on train. They've already started using a train. And from India, they have already started working on a train from India to Arab. Sorry, ship from India to Arab, and then from Arab to Europe, it will go on a train. The train logistic is much cheaper as compared to a ship, because the train, the tracks once made, you can keep on running trains one after another every 3, 5, 7 minutes. So the amount of cargo which can be transported is far larger as compared to a ship. So there are several. This belt initiative of China has now failed. What I have read, I am not sure whether I remember it correctly, that they are losing something like $800 billion to $1 trillion in that initiative, Belt and Road Initiative. Crew. The shipping crew is recruited on contracts. In India, there is a ship called T.S. Rajendra, which is a merchant merchant navy ship. They conduct this course. Then there is another course at IIT Kharagpur. So these are the two places where I know there are merchant navy courses being done. I am sure there would be others. So they do it. These contracts are usually for 11 months, and they are mostly non-family stations. And because most of these are cargo ships, there is nothing which happens there. Of course, there are all type of entertainment and other facilities, but then you are staying in a ship in the sea, floating around. It's a pretty tough life in that manner. Crew is also specialized because engine technology keeps changing, navigation, and the knowledge of the port. This knowledge of the port is important, because if you don't go the right way, the ship may be damaged, or it may be stuck, or it may take a longer time. And if it takes a longer time, it is penalty by the port, and also owners, they don't get the right returns as they should have. The contract value can fluctuate very widely as per contract. So a contract done today and a contract done after 1 month can be very wide, depending on what is the shipping rates and so many things which are going on. Then ports, each port need a minimum depth from the surface of the water. For mid-size ships, it can be 15 to 20 meters. for large size ships from 30 to 45 meters. And all ships cannot dock in all ports, that is very clear. And the turnaround at the port is important. The port where you can turn around fast, the ships prefer to go there. In India, what the data is that the Mundra port is Adani port, there the turnaround of the ship is half of that which it takes in Neva Sheva or Bombay port. So ships are more interested to go to Mundra port rather than to Bombay or other port because they can unload and load at a very fast pace. Now this is a picture the way the cranes are, and these cranes are what is required to upload and to take the container out and to put the container in. This is only one of the pictures. There are various types of cranes which are used. We have done a valuation of such cranes for Dubai, and these cranes cost anything between 40 crores to 100 crores, depending on the speed and so on. And in the port, the union is led by the crane operator, because if the crane operator is not working, the ship is stuck. Anybody who has seen these cranes or a port from inside? I'm sure many people would have seen that.
Sir, I have seen.
Where?
Yeah.
Hooghly?
Haldia.
Haldia? Huh.
Yes, yes.
Anybody else? Very big area and looks complicated.
I have seen, sir.
I have seen several ports. We did valuation for Neva Sheva port. We had gone to Mundra for some other business. These are very, very huge and extremely impressive. And the only thing they talk about is how quickly they can put the cargo on the ship, take out cargo and take it out of their shipyard. Because the faster they move, faster will be the revenue. Ground remains the same, rent remains the same. How much you are able to turn that around. Okay, we come to market approach. In the market approach, all ships are registered like a car sale. The specs of the ships are public knowledge. I just showed you also that with the ships, they can tell you what the ship number and so on is on live basis. It is live. And the one which I was showing you was a free version. If you take a paid version, then you get a lot more data. And our runs, kilometer runs are also public knowledge. These are available on paid website. Like we can get the custom clearance information on a monthly basis from the government after you pay a value. So same thing you can get on this. And license renewal information, etc. is also available. So because of the data is so easily available and it is reliable, this is a good resale market for the ships. And resale is done mainly through auctions and private sales. And bank act as a broker, as the loan also gets transferred. So they act as a bigger agency. And center of such trade is again London. So it is not that ships are not transacted anywhere else, but the main transaction point is London, where there are now experts who have all this information. I was planning to do a course on ship valuation. There is an institute in London which was offering the course. The cost of the course was approximately 3 lakh rupees over 6 weeks to be done through internet. But I then finally realized that giving 3 lakh rupees for only one company in India where the tender gets out looks to be difficult. So we dropped that idea. But if anybody is interested, then if you just look into valuation of ships London and you can get that whole thing. Then we came to the cost approach. For a ship that has a residual economic life, this is not used because the cost approach is very difficult on the ship. Normally the ship is purely on the income approach when the ships are sale purchased. An income approach is usually used for such ships. The ship's sale normally take place when one company lands up in a problem because they are inefficient to run or they don't have the right mix of the brokers who can give them cargo, and it is purchased by companies who are efficient and who want to add on to capacity, or there's some ship has now reached the residual life, newer ships have not come. So that's where the trade takes place. But for the ships going for scrap, the cost approach is used. Now, what are the major cost elements if we look into the cost approach? One is the steel used in making the ships. Now these can be 2 lakh tons or something like that. Then pipes running the ship. The pipe is a huge thing which is inside the ship. Engine or the powertrain is a major cost. Living quarters of the crew. Kitchen. Now, kitchen of ships are very specialized. They have to have drinking water in large quantity, and then from saline water to drinking water conversions, large cold rooms or freezer rooms so that they can keep their food there. Then the whole kitchen waste cannot be thrown out just like as it is to anywhere on the sea. It has to be stored and then handed over in the port whenever they go. So kitchen is a very major cost. Then refrigeration units, furniture, tool and tackles, and paint work. So these are the major cost elements. Now, when the ships are being auctioned for scrap, then the value is taken for different elements. The steel value is taken from the registrar of document, and scrap rates are also taken that as it has to be sold, cut and sold. Now here the things start making changes here. When we talk of pipes, most of the pipes, even after 40 years, are in fair condition because they are painted and repaired whenever required be, otherwise ships will not run. So they have a very large resale value. If you go to, in Gujarat, there is a large number of factories. They go to Bhavnagar and Alang to buy these items. It reduces the total capex of the factory to a very large extent. Engines are a hot selling item as an alternate to DG sets. In fact, there are so many people who already go and give their requirement to the engine traders. So when as soon as it gets known that a ship is coming to Alang, the trade for the engine starts, and people start buying the engine. Then another thing is in these engine, the engine oil is used, and furnace oil is used, and furnace oil are cheaper. So it makes a lot of sense. Plus, these are low RPM engines. Say a typical engine, DG set, the RPM is 3000, but the ship RPMs are normally 750. A low RPM engine is a better engine. It gives less vibration, less problem. The only problem on that is that they require pollution control equipment, which are then installed by third party. And engines are sold off even before anything else is sold off.
Excuse me, sir, may I speak?
Yes, please.
Sir, with valuation, the major concern is the weight of the material, either it's steel or MS or something else. So how we will estimate the weight of the material in the ship?
See, the weight of the material as far as the steel is concerned, it is taken out from the design document which are submitted to the registrar. So the weight is fairly accurate.
So the client will provide us the document where the steel and other materials will be mentioned, and that we have to consider.
Yeah, from the register document of the registrar, extremely fairly good value in quantity is asserted.
And what will be this registrar office? Sir, what will be the name of this registrar office?
Sorry, what is the?
What will be the name of this registrar office?
No, it is called the ship registrar. Like for example, in India, the ship registrar main office is in Bombay, and they have branch offices in Chennai, Calcutta, and Kochi. So it is called the Indian Registrar of Ships.
Okay, we can go there and we can collect the information of the same ship which we have to value.
Correct. And these are public information. It is not that these are not hidden something or whatever.
Can we get this information online also?
Sorry?
Can we get this information online also?
I'm sure we can get it online. I have not tried it. There must be a way to register and to pay a fees and get information online.
Okay.
Yeah, because today most of the offices they who have digitized, they don't want people coming to their office. Anybody coming to the office for a regular information, it is a much bigger headache. Like railways, they are now ready to issue tickets through what you call apps. And nowadays, when I carry a paper ticket, the railway, the TT inspector, he says, "Sir, please don't waste paper." They will just ask the name, look at my face, age, and everything, and they say, "Sir, thank you." So just look at the way things have changed from the time when we used to carry paper and identity card, and now things have moved to that extent, and those printed pages are gone. The ticket collectors are with iPads.
And sir, with the cost approach, how we can get the quotation or something, another document to estimate the RC and the similar negotiation?
Sorry, and see your voice, there is a lot of echo. So can you repeat it, please?
Sir, in cost approach.
Sorry, it goes for?
In cost approach.
Indeed, the cost approach.
Yeah.
You see, the Shipping Corporation of India, they get their costing, they get their valuation done from India, and we try to, it is through a tender. So we tried to do, but we could not do because they said they want minimum X years of experience and so on. I had called up one of the person who got the order, and what they said is they're just using a cost approach, a very simple straight line cost approach with a life of 25 years.
Sir, is it possible to get a quotation of the similar new ships in the market?
Sorry, please?
Sir, is it possible to get a new quotation of the similar new ship?
No, it is impossible. You cannot get a quotation of a new ship unless there is what do you call? So nobody will quote you. See, suppose you go to a shipyard, it takes a lot of effort to prepare a quotation, and why should they give you?
Right, sir. So the only way is to to go through the tender which happened in the past?
No,
or
only through past record.
Yeah.
Sir, does the registrar provide us records easily?
Yeah. If you go to the registrar, you are a valuer, they'll charge you a fees, and these are public documents. These are not documents.
Okay. Sir, may I ask one more question?
Yeah, please, sir.
Sir, when manufacturing of ship is going on, the work is going on as per the drawings. Is there any third party or government regulatory body who observes that part of work during manufacturing?
Okay, see, now the question is that while the manufacturing is going on, is there somebody who is inspecting that particular operation? Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now here, at certain stages, there are inspections by the registrar.
By the way.
See, okay. Regular in the manufacturing process, the inspection is done by the manufacturer. For example, the welding is done. Now, 100% welding is tested and after the welding by the die penetration or by the X-ray. And after certain stages, then the registrar comes and they do the inspection. The registrar inspection is that the dimensions and the other things are what they have submitted to the registrar. The government comes into picture when the ship has to go for a trial run. Then they come and check for the safety and the again regulatory what is there or not. Normally, the trial run takes place over anything between 3 days to 20 days for a lot of.
So, who are those bodies from government who come during trial?
There are certain inspection bodies, I don't know, but there are specific inspection bodies which are.
Okay, sir. So it means registrar office has engineers too, or
Of course. No, they all have naval engineers.
Okay, sir. Okay.
All naval engineers.
Naval engineers. Okay.
And not only naval, mechanical engineers, electronics, so many other.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So. Any other questions, please?
Actually, I have one question. I would like to know what is the what is the average payback period for a machine? So within how much time we can expect a ship to cost to recover its cost? What would be the average payback period?
Oh, that's a very interesting. Okay, I have not done that study, but I would expect that the payback period on this would be typically 15 years or more, 15 to 18 years.
Okay. And there is one more question, like you have mentioned that the crew is hired on a contract basis.
Yes.
So the salary or the compensation that is paid to them gets renewed every month or on a periodical basis, because you are saying
No. It's a contract. Let's say there's a large amount of Indian shippies who go to various ships in the world. So let's say a Hong Kong ship is a engine room engineer. So he gets $2,000 per month for 11 months, and that is all. So he gets 22,000 and comes.
So irrespective of the other factors like increase in other costs, there will be no increase in the compensation during the contract period, right?
No, absolutely correct.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
And these contracts are also very strict. If they are found having drugs inside the ship or doing any illegal activity or so on, they are terminated and a mark is put on their record. these records are again public knowledge. And once a mark is seen, then that shippy cannot get a job anywhere.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, let's continue. Now, in the living quarters, you have beds, wardrobe, mattresses, lights, books, and so on. I have personally purchased books from these old scrap ships in Bhavnagar. I used to stay in Baroda, so from Baroda, go there and buy. Kitchen, you have burners, utensils, SS cabinets, cooking tables, and so on. A large amount of such item. There is a chain of restaurants called the Honest chain in Gujarat. They do a lot of purchasing from these, and these are excellent stuff. These are marine. They can bear a lot of hard life. So, and they are much lower cost as compared to new. Another thing which is important is they can be used. They can be used for immediate purpose. Then refrigeration units, room freezers. Room freezers means cold rooms, refrigerators and coolers. A typical freezer is very expensive in India, and sometimes it takes up to 1 year to get a delivery. So they can be picked up and used at a very fast level. The steel furniture, they have mainly steel furniture because marine wood is extremely expensive. And steel furniture, as we all know, goes very quickly in the factories. Tools and tackles, all engineers know the tool and tackles are all, they have got what we say is a permanent life till lost. And the paintwork, of course, it has no value. So just to show you the picture, where is Alang? So people apart from Gujarat, it could be interesting to see. So Alang is very close to Bhavnagar, and Bhavnagar is a very, very big industrial and trading center of Gujarat. So the biggest, the most known is Surat or Ahmedabad, but Bhavnagar is equally very, very big center. Now, this is a shop where the old stuff for ships are being sold. These are 4 shops. So, actually, picture taken out Alan Shipyard Market. It's a very exciting market. Anybody who goes to Gujarat, I would highly recommend to go to Bhavnagar and to Alan to see how things are done there. Now, what is the scrap ship cost? The scrap ship costs are depending on where they are to be scrapped. So in Alang, if it is going to be scrapped, the ship is about 400 rupees per ton. In Turkey, 300 rupees. In European ships, it is 100 to 180 because they can be scrapped only in EU certified yards only. And when you make EU certified yards, means a lot of other paperwork and so on. So the cost is lower. And for US ships, which are in US scrap, in US, it is only $90 per ton. So now you also have a fair value on what is typically for a scrap ship. Now, when the ship is scrapped, basically a ship is scrapped because the cost of running of the ship becomes very high, which means the fuel consumption goes up, and better design of the hull, propeller, they start getting used. Maintenance cost starts piling up, it becomes quite large, and the lower utilization of of sailing time, slower running of the ship, space availability is reduced. Now, refitment of the ship normally does not happen because it is a very, very high cost. And in older technology, the crew also becomes a problem where crew is just not available. For a 30-year-old ship where the engines and the boiler, etc., 30-year-old design, there may not be anybody knowing that because everybody keeps getting trained on the newer ships. And the older ships, people may be so old that they are unfit to travel or may not like to travel. Because the salaries are very good, then people typically tend to retire by the time they are between 35 to 40 age. In our society, there was a shippy who retired at 40, and when he retired, he brought a Mercedes from Dubai. We were pretty jealous of that, but that's life. Now, the trends, what are the trends which are seen in ships? One is engines. The hydrogen engines have been ordered by us. And it is expected that the hydrogen is going to take over the complete shipping. As of now, approximately 8 to 9% of pollution takes place because of the ships, and 8 to 9% is extremely high. So there is a strong thrust of moving towards renewable energy, and hydrogen is the one which is going on. And France has started using hydrogen engines in river shipping lanes, France to Lyon, I said. Any idea when the first Indian railway is going to come on hydrogen? The first hydrogen railway will be run between Kalka and Shimla, the second between Ooty and Coimbatore, and both these two trains have been ordered, and the first train between Shimla and Ooty is expected to run before the election is announced as the government's thrust to show renewable energy and so on. To my friends inside railway say that the railway has started planning out for hydrogen yards where they can store hydrogen, and they have also started talking to major companies which can generate hydrogen near their yards because electricity can be transmitted on the power lines. So they say that you take electricity from our lines, from our solar energy, make the hydrogen in that area and give it to us. So India is looking into pretty big time into hydrogen in the railways. GPS controlled autopilot ships, they are gaining more popularity where you don't have to have even a person to run that. And multi-directional, multi-propeller ships are used to stabilize the ships and all. In the cruise ships today, it is said that even on the worst of the storm, you don't even realize that the storm going on, the ship is so stable. Now, what is the total market size? If we look into the market size as a valuation, the total ships for cargo is about 55,000 and other ships is about 50,000. And they have to be inspected and valued at an annual purpose for insurance, residual life and resale purpose. So this is the total amount of market size with an average cost of anything between 5,000 to 20,000 per valuation. So the market size for this is very, very high. And there are no ship valuations in Bharat or India. Some PMN valuers are doing it on a cost basis. They need training, they need databases, and need support from the government to make it as a stream. And not only that, aeroplanes, helicopters are also to be included in this. So already a thrust is there with the IBBI. This lecture is the first lecture in India across all RVOs for ship valuations. I have tried to make it more as a ship exposure to ship industry per se, and to see how we can do work more on.
Sir, one question.
Yes, please.
See, you say that the ship cost is around $50 million, which is around 400 crores,
Correct.
and the payback period is 15 years. So does it make a business sense? 15 years you wait for, it's so high risk.
Sir, every business has got its risk, and every business cannot be done by everybody. There are people who say stock market is the biggest problem, and then there is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala who started with 5,000 and made 25,000 crore rupees. So, so it is very well known that all business cannot be done by everybody. There are some specific people who have got some mental level of things who do some level of business. Let us take the case of highways. Toll highways. The toll highways, the break-even by declared by the government is 10 to 12 years. And still there is a mad rush to make highways.
That risk is national risk within the country, but this is international risk. That's
so what people say international risk is lower than the country risk. In countries today, the government changes, a different government comes or a different prime minister comes, the whole risk becomes very high. Internationally, one country may go down, other country will go up. So there are all type of views. No, please don't take it that I am trying to say what is better or not. Only thing I am trying to say is that for the risk to be taken, it is decided by a particular company or a set of people who are managers.
So I get your point, but still 15 years seems to be quite high from my viewpoint.
Fine, sir. Me and you, we will not do it. So for me, I don't do it, but just saying that I know people who say, yeah, morning day trade is the best trade. Today I made 10,000, I lost 4,000. So they are very happy in trading on the stock market on a daily profit and loss basis. And some people say that is pure speculation and sattevaj.
I am also into it anyway. No comments.
No comments, correct. That is the best comment.
Sir, I need a suggestion. Sir, I work for customs department, and I'm a plant and machinery valuer. So they sees different kinds of things. From the Holdia port, inspector came and he said that we have seized 2 fishing trawlers.
Okay.
And they asked me to do valuation. So I asked them what details you have. They said, madam, we don't have anything with us. We just have seized the
Correct. Correct.
So can you guide me or suggest me how can in normal cases, if anyone do any kind of valuation, we have the basic details. But for a trawler where they don't have any information, they have just seen maybe, and what they said that whatever details or registration, I asked them for the registration number with every trawler master. They said, ma'am, these trawlers have been used for illegal purpose mostly. So whatever registration number has been mentioned there, if you search or we search, we will find there are 2-3 other trawlers in the same registration. So that registration details is also fake.
Correct.
So in that case, how we can do this work?
Okay. Now, very good question. So we can do it in a practical. I can give you several suggestions. The first thing you check out is what is the engine it has. The powertrain. because the powertrain will not be made in India. It would have been made most likely in Japan from Suzuki, Yamaha, or somebody like that. So that is number one. And with that, you can find out the cost very easily on the replacement and the marketplace. So that's number one.
Okay, so I have to
Because,
rely on, give focus on the engine only.
no, that is the first thing.
Okay, okay.
Okay. The second is the power of the engine, because that engine, the number plate or the size of propeller, it will tell you what is the power of the engine. The power of the engine will give you a fair value of the weight of the ship. It will not be accurate. It will be a difference of plus minus 10-15%, but it is better than zero.
Right, right.
Okay. The third thing to do is you take the surface area of the outside. So you have to take a tape and get it measured, and that surface area you can find out. Assume the thickness of depending on the length and the width, assume the thickness of the plate between 4 millimeter to 10 millimeter, and then calculate the weight of the steel. Now you have the weight of the steel, you have the engine, rest is just a routine calculation.
And what
I
about
don't
the
think-
age?
You see, at that point of time, you cannot find out the age unless you start using instruments like how much it has worn out and so on. So what you have to do is it will be sold as a scrap.
Okay, okay.
So what you have to do, you have to bifurcate this whole thing into what is called the body and the engine. Now, along with engine, if it also has a kitchen and other things.
No, it's
that
just a fishing trawler, very small in size. Mostly.
So it's just these two things.
Yeah. Okay. Make and the power.
For the engine.
Engine. And mostly from the photographs they have shown me, it is mostly made of wood only.
Now, if it is of wood, then it is even more easier. Because in wood, the cost of the scrap, you just take it 10 rupee a kg.
Right, right.
So the only thing is, another very important here is, please do not do any valuation till you physically see the trawlers.
Yeah, that's so obvious, sir. Without seeing
And
the
no, not obvious. There are many people I know who do the valuation with customs and all, because they're government, they will not tell a lie. Number one. Number two, whenever you do a inspection, make sure there is a picture of you with the ships or the trawler with a big sign beside that. Take that spray guns, put some sign, so that at a later date, if somebody says, no, this was not the trawler, this was the trawler, then you don't get into trouble.
Okay, okay.
And,
right. Most of the cases we took photographs with the officers, whoever shows us.
Even better, even better.
That is the safest thing I follow always. That whoever is showing the entire things, we took a photograph with the person only and the dialogue with the things.
Sir, I have a question
Thank
for
you,
you.
sir. Thank you
Yes,
very
please.
much.
Hello.
Please, sir.
Sir, in your presentation, you said need support from the government to support the stream.
Correct.
How government can help it? It is the duty of the educating bodies like RVOs and all to do the things, because these are the special valuations. I agree with you. And fairly, when you compare to the type of valuations we are doing day in and day out, this works out to be with a little effort, maybe much easier than what we are doing today. Reason being, today when we look for the data and the market for that, we are looking only the domestic market because we are tuned to domestic market. But these the type of assets cannot be thought in the domestic market. This has to be always in the international market. And that is where the data for international data is required. However, getting international in the Indian markets, definitely the assets what we face day in and day out is not, we are not in the organized market. Whereas in most of the developed countries, the market data are freely available. That means, I don't say the meaning of free is, it is available, I mean to say. But there is a cost for that, and costs are exorbitant. There is what our associations or somebody should have some portal, etc. They should give it to the members so that each can access the data. See, when a ship has to be sold, it cannot be sold in India. The owner has to look for a global market for that. That is how the registrations are global, and every market is global, everything is global. And we need to, maybe a small skill the institutions can try. I don't think government will play any role in this. I
Okay,
want your views on
my view on this is, the first thing government can do is that, as we have 3 streams, they can make a shipping stream as separate, number 1. Number 2, they can create, instead of a 50, maybe 100 or whatever courses, which they can force different IITs and others to create those courses who can do this. Number 3, they can do is that any Indian bank or Indian registrar or Indian company having a ship has to be valued by an Indian valuer.
Correct.
So if you do just these 3 things, the market will start coming. Once that is start coming, we are smart enough to go and attack the international market. But as on today, you see, as on today, we do not even have something where we can say I can go that I can go for I see, there is nothing today I can go for. Even if I go to Hong Kong and say I can value your ship, they will laugh at me.
No, the issue is only on the data, sir. Otherwise, we have an expertise. Data is the one thing which has got
sir,
a challenge, very challenge.
Sir, I'm sorry to cut you here. There was a tender for a refinery, and we were planning to quote. We were not very aware of that. So on to the PNM fraternity, I said, we want to work together. So please give me a quotation. The quotation ranged from 50,000 rupees to 12 lakh rupees. The refinery asset value was 80,000 crores. Now, when somebody is saying 50,000 rupees and somebody is saying 12,000 and in between, it clearly indicates that the understanding of the work is missing.
No, definitely it depends. Recently, when I had to do a aircraft valuation for a data, I need to pay $1,000 US. So I had to register for the data by paying $1,000 US. That is a type of expenditure involved in getting the data.
Correct.
That is what it puts into thing. That is what it puts the valuer in a difficulty to carry out these exercises. Otherwise, most of us have got an expertise to do all these things.
I don't know, sir. I feel that I am not a know-all for all the things, even though I have data and I can buy data. There is also something called experience. Just by looking at the YouTube, I can't make a good chola bhatura. For that, I have to burn my fingers few times before I can make anything reasonable. A fresh engineer, you can give him as much of data as he wants. He will definitely be better than me and data analytics, but he will not be better than me in looking at the asset and deciding where and what it is, looking into the economic conditions. So again, sir, these are views, and I'm not saying that my views are final views. End of the day, if these seminars are being held, it is only because RVOs and IBBI have come to a conclusion that a slight bit of exposure is a must. Otherwise, there is no need for that. In fact, I can also tell you, let me also tell you, sir, when IBBI was made, the chartered accountants, they made a big plea to the IBBI that why should you need a separate valuation? We are the valuers. And we will do all the valuation, and every valuer should report to a CA. Then Dr. Sabu, he said, forget it, it will not happen. Then they said, we will not become a valuer. And he said, fine. Then he opened it to MBA finance and so on. Today, and this was when the valuation as a profession was started. So, the chartered accountant took a position in that, which I mean the ICAI body. But today, that matter is very fully closed. So it is very nice that people like you are there who understand valuation very well. But then, in India, we cannot have only 3 or 4 people. We need to have a large number of people who can be looking into doing valuations. I have done valuation of cranes in Dubai. So, but how much effort it took and what it is and my experience talking to crane makers, so it takes a lot of effort. But
correct, sir.
But how it will go, what we don't know. But on the ship side, today I am, if I want to do a ship valuation for international party, it will not be, I will not be even given a cup of tea.
Yeah, you are 100% right, sir. What I see is only these are special assets where, see, generally our people are tuned to do, most of us are tuned to do the micro valuations, whereas these things fall under the domain of macro valuations, where the emphasis will be, along with engineering, emphasis will be on the economics and the finance in the global market. And if anyone valuer is strong on economics and finance with a global knowledge and data of the global, he can do a wonderful job. That is what I feel, sir.
Yes, sir. So see, let me give you another example. Maybe it is wrong. During COVID time, when government realized that the chip manufacturing has to be in-house, then they started the PLI scheme and so on, and Tata and Micron, and they are now getting into chip manufacturing. Now, to say that, why does Tata requires any PLI or whatever is fine. That is correct. They don't need, there's a huge, among the largest groups. The advantage comes in is when government offers the PLI schemes or something, it gives a focus to all those activities. So, a government support gives the focus. Then a lot of other bodies, they start looking into the profession in a better way.
Okay.
See, I'll give you very interesting, my examples are, I was doing a valuation for a bank for a rice mill. When I went to the rice mill was closed for about 6 months. The owners told me it is closed just a week back. There were pigeons flying all around with pigeon shit all over the place, and they were telling it is closed for 2 months. After that, when I said, give me the FAR, they said no FAR is available. So I said, make a list. So made a list and give me the FAR value. It was totaling to 80 crores. Then I said, I want to talk to your auditor. They said, no, we will not allow. Fine. I went to the company law board website, took out the data. The filed data was 60 crore and they had given me a FAR value of 80 crore. So I called them. I said, the filed is 60 crore and you are saying 80 crore. They said, no, what we have filed is wrong. I said, fine, I'm sending you a mail. Please write and send it to me that it is wrong so I can submit it to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Then it suddenly, it shook to them that what happened. Finally, I gave them a certain value. They called me and said, increase the value, we'll pay you bribes. So I told them, sir, you forget it. This doesn't happen this way with us. Then the banker called me, said, we will cancel your registration. You have to give this value. So you cancel the registration. We will not do it. And so, there are all type of people, all type of things. See, my age is 66 years. I have run most of my life through my career. So valuation is not my bread and butter. And I'm not going to go into petty gains just because of, these type of things. Interestingly, the fees from the bank was 20,000 and the bribe offer was 10 lakhs. But it doesn't make a difference. It's the way the things are. Now, see, I'll give you another example which happened last week. I was asked to value a software, the liquidator, he gave me a pen drive. Here is the software. I said, no, it is not software. It is a pen drive. He said, then what do you mean by software? I said, you show it to me on the computer, how it is running and everything. They said, no, I'm going to report to you to IBB. I said, report it. You are showing me a pen drive and you're telling me it is a software. I'll say I saw a pen drive. What is inside a pen drive? I don't know. The matter continued. So he arranged to show the software. When I saw the software, I said, boss, this is not a plant and machinery job. Now it has shifted to SNF job because it has lot of data of distributors, customers, branding, connections, business connections, and these are not physical asset, these are intangible asset, and the value of intangible asset in this case is far larger. So he said, why don't you give me the value on a piece of paper so that it becomes easy? He said, forget it. I'm just sending you a regret note that the total value is becoming very high and this matter should not be taken by the PNM. I'm going to complain against you. You already PNM valuers taking da. Anyway, that's his problem. So I sent him a mail. Of course, I kept my RVO informed, and the RVO said, yes, you have done is right, and that was. So there are all type of people, sir.
True, sir.
So, the intention here is let us try to make our profession as better as possible, and more the number of people who are involved, it will grow in a better way. Like the discussion we are having is only adding to the overall wisdom to the whole group here. It is not between you and me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. Anything else, or shall we, Kajal? Shall we close a little earlier?
No question from my end.
Yeah, Kajal, can we close a little earlier?
Yes, sir. If we have completed the topic, then we can close it. If everyone is agree. If anyone have any question, please ask.
Anyway, when I will send the PPT, I will put my phone number and email also. So I am always happy to discuss anything, except if you call me. The best way is to drop a mail or to send a WhatsApp, and I will come back to you because we all are busy. So there are a lot of people where we keep on talking to each other. I learn a lot from there. When they have a problem, we have a discussion. We agree or disagree, but there are always a learning on all the sides. We did valuations for satellite equipment, and the interesting with the satellite equipment, they had 10,000 tapes of Walt Disney movies and whatnot thing. So, how to get it done and what, and we went into the agreements. So, that there's always a learning on what is where. Chalo, Kajal, thank you very much then. Any other last questions or shall we close?
Thank you, sir, for such an interesting session. And we have one more session on 10th February from 6 to 8 p.m. by Anil sir. The topic will be capital gain tax, role of valuers. So if anyone interested, please log in for our CP at our website. So thank you, sir. Thank you all the participants to participate in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the knowledgeable session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think when this year points are completed with this.